My name is Venkat. So I have been working as an Informatica developer as well as an administrator from the past 8+ years as an Informatica consultant. So as an Informatica consultant, so I have worked in different companies and not only in Informatica Power Center. I worked in Data Stage and I worked in SAP Business Objects as well as SSIS and slightly into Master Data Management. Okay, so this is about myself, and from the past 3 years onwards, I have been into this training environment and I trained more than 300 students till now. Okay, so this is about myself. So coming to the course, it's like Informatica Power Center is the course which you are going to understand. Informatica Power Center. So for this course, the prerequisite is like you required a slight knowledge on data warehousing concepts and SQL, PL SQL, Unix commands, as well as scripting. So these are basically the prerequisites for attending this training program. So as a part of the training, we'll give you, since Informatica Power Center is mostly used across all the data warehousing projects, it is mostly used in data warehousing projects. For the first 2 to 3 sessions, we'll take up all the basic fundamental topics of data warehouse, like what is a data warehouse and how it is used, who are the different authors, and what kind of modeling is done here, and what are the different tables are there. So about these topics we'll cover for the first 3 days. And SQL and PL SQL will be taught as a part of the training, but not that much. It's at a very higher level whenever the scenario comes. So we'll go with the SQL topics even. And Unix commands and Unix scripting will also be taught as a part of the training. So the training has been divided into 3 modules. 3 modules. One is like Informatica Power Center developer activities, and Informatica Power Center admin activities, core admin activities, Unix commands, as well as scripting. Okay, Unix commands as well as scripting. So when you look into this course content that we have sent you, so it's like Informatica 9.6.1 is the version which we are going to deal with. Okay, and BigClasses will give you the VMware software. So within that VMware software, we have Informatica Power Center 9.5.1. right, along with Oracle database within Windows environment, within the Windows environment. So all the lab sessions that we have that we are going to cover, you can practice within this VMware, which contains Informatica Power Center 9.5.1 Oracle under the Windows environment. So the installation process will be shown to you, and the software guidance means if you want to directly perform the installation within your system, then I'll give you the guidance on where the softwares are available. You have to download it, and you can perform the installation directly in your PC and start practicing that. So you have to either you can do the practice within the VMware, or you can do the practice. You can install the software directly in your systems and practice it. Okay. So 9.5.1 is the software that is there. Yes, you have slight differences are there. I'll explain you the difference. Okay, so what's new in 9.6 will tell you that. So 9.5.1 is the software which will be given as a part of the from the BigClasses team, it will be given. So they'll send you even the 9.6 software also. They'll send you even the 9.6 software also. So this 9.6 software, once they send it, we'll have to upgrade this one. Upgrade. So upgrade your VMware so that you will understand even how to perform the upgradation also. Okay. So as a part of the training, we'll tell you how to install the Power Center software, and within your VMware, you can perform the upgradation also. So you're going to practice on the latest version of Informatica Power Center, which is 9.6.1. So you'll be working on 9.6.1 software itself. Okay. And you can see here, for the first 3 to 4 days, 3 days, you'll be understanding only this data warehousing concepts, the basics data warehousing concept, which is the boring part. So once it is done, so we'll go into developer track. So when you're dealing with this developer activities, we'll perform even the project implementation also. So the sales project implementation. So when you're doing that, you will come across what all the different transformations that we have, and what task we are going to perform as a ETL developer, what are the roles and responsibilities, how the ETL project lifecycle is there, what is the developer roles and responsibilities. So all those things you will understand. And as a developer, what kind of testings you have to perform also will be taught as a part of this developer track. So this is the developer track where you will be performing all these tasks as a part of the project itself. Okay. And the next one is admin track. So admin track is like it's completely how you perform the administration activities within the Power Center, and what are the different roles and responsibilities as a Informatica admin you are required. So about these things it will be taught here. So you can see these are all the different topics, administration topics, like what is the architecture, what are the different nodes we have, how many types of nodes are there, so how to perform the installation, how to perform the configuration, and even the upgradation is also part of the training. So we have to perform even the upgradation also. So upgradation to 9.6.1, right? And so admin console, so within this admin console itself will create all the services. And so we have different types of services are there. So for performing the Informatica Power Center, we have different services. For data quality, we have different services. And for metadata manager, we have different services, web services. You can see these are all the different services which we have to configure within the admin console itself. And we'll provide the security by creating the users, and we'll give the different privileges and permissions to that. So this will also be taught as a Informatica security. And what are the different environments you have, whether you have the high availability. If you have high availability in your project, what are the features of that, and what are the importance, and how you will be benefited, and how the end user will be benefited. And so all these topics will be taught as a part of this admin track, as well as the code migration. Code migration is nothing but how you're going to migrate your ETL programs from one from one environment to another environment. This will be also taught, and the performance tuning, as well as the ETL testing. So ETL testing is not the core complete ETL testing. So whatever the project we are dealing with, so for that project, what are the different testing methodologies you can apply to that. So we are going to discuss that. So ETL testing is also part of this curriculum. Okay, so ETL testing. So how you perform the ETL testing as a developer, and how you perform the ETL testing as a ETL tester also. Okay, so this is also included within this course. Okay, so basically what are you going to understand here? So you will understand Informatica Power Center activities, admin activities, Unix commands will also be taught, Unix scripting, as well as the ETL testing. So this all these 4 things will be taught as a part of the training environment. Okay, so this is about the software, and these are the prerequisites that is required. So data warehousing concepts and Unix concept, anyway, we have specific classes for that. And only thing is that you should require SQL, strong knowledge on SQL commands and the field SQL concepts. Okay. So that is about how you have it. And totally the training time is like, so we have totally, so we have it 35 to 40 sessions altogether. And so daily it's like 1 hour 15 minutes to 1 hour 30 minutes. 1 hour 30 minutes. So this is what you have. And every day it's like Monday EST to Friday EST. We have the sessions. Okay. So this is what about the basics of what you're going to get during this training. Okay, right. So let's walk into the course now. So the first part is like we'll have to go with what is data warehousing and how Informatica Power Center has been evolved and what is the purpose of that. We'll try to understand now. So for basically for any organization or any company, data plays a major role. So when I say data plays a major role, what is meant by data? So data is everything. Data is everything to us. Data is everything to the company, because in order to perform any analysis, in order to perform the business analysis, basically we require the data. So the data is everywhere. Means when you write something on a document, so this is nothing but data, right? So but when you record this session, so it's nothing but a data. When you write something in the document, or when you play something in a document, so that is called as a data. So this data is not much. So when it comes to the business, basically for the business people, the operational data is what the customer data, the accounts data, and the outlets data. So this is what important for the business people. So basically, let's take, we have a business called as a HSBC. We have a bank called as a HSBC. So for this HSBC bank, let's assume we have a online banking system for this, right? And I want to send, I want to deposit some amount to my friend. So what do? I just log in into the HSBC online portal. So I'll connect to the system. So with my credentials, username, the password, I'll add the beneficiary, and I'll send the amount that is required to my friend. So these applications, so basically these applications that we have, these are called as a front-end applications, or we can call it as a front-end interfaces. So these interfaces are something that is created by using the programming languages, right? So we have some programming languages like Java or .NET, right? So we have programming languages like Java, .NET, we have PHP. So these are all the different programming languages that we have it. So these programming languages are helpful for us for creating these interfaces. But when you enter the data here, when you enter the user's data here, these front-end programming languages basically cannot store the data. So for that storage purpose, in order to perform the future reference or in order to perform the business analysis, we need to store this data at some place. So that is what we call it as a database. So the data from the front-end applications, in order to perform the business analysis, we store them into the back-end technologies called as a database. So what is meant by this database? So the database is nothing but it's a software package. So database is nothing but it's a software package which stores the data in the form of tables. So we have multiple number of tables are present. Which will store the data in the form of these tables. So there are multiple databases that we have within the real time. Like we have Oracle, we have SQL Server. So we have Teradata. We have Sybase. We have DB2. So these are all the different databases from different vendors. So Oracle is from Oracle Corporation, SQL Server is from Microsoft, Teradata is from Teradata Corporation, Sybase is from SAP, and DB2 is from DB2 is from IBM. So these are all the different databases that we have. So which stores the data in the form of tables. So in order to communicate with these databases, we have a standard language called as a SQL language. So this SQL language is nothing but structured query language. Structured query language. So we have multiple commands within this structured query language, which will help us to communicate with the database. Like we have the insert command, we have update command, like commit, rollback, delete, truncate, etc. So these are all the different commands which are part of the SQL language, which will communicate with the database. Okay, so this is about how you have the databases that we have it. So basically, when you talk about this HSBC bank, all the operational transactions of this HSBC bank will be stored within this database. All the operational transactions. So we can perform the transactions by using this system, and this system is what you call it as a OLTP systems. These systems are called as OLTP systems. The systems which help us to perform the operational transactions is called as a OLTP system. So which is nothing but online transactional processing system. Online transactional processing system. So these OLTP systems are basically used to store all the operational data. This helps us to perform the operational transactions, and it is called as a operational data. So we have 24/7 access to this. So basically we have 24/7 access to this, and we have high volumes of data will be present here. I mean, high volumes of transactions are performed, and these will be available all the time, right? And it contains the current data. So current data in the sense only at present data will be present within this OLTP system. So basically, for every organization or any company, these OLTP systems plays an important role. These OLTP system plays an important role because this stands as a backbone of any enterprise which carries out all the operational transactions. So what is meant by a transaction? So transaction is nothing but it is a set of DML operations. It is a set of DML operation, means you either perform the, if it is a new record, you perform the insert. If it is an existing record, you perform the update. So this is a kind of DML operation you perform on the OLTP system, which is helpful for us for carrying out all the business transactions. Okay, and these systems are available everywhere. So when you go into the real time, let's say if you want to book a airline ticket, so you will use a airline application. When you want to book a railway ticket, you will use the IRCTC application, right? So when you want to book some products within the book some products, so you will use e-commerce applications like Flipkart, or you have Amazon or eBay, right? So these are all the different applications we are going to use, and these applications which help us to carry out all the day-to-day transactions of that particular business. These applications are called as a OLTP applications, right? So everything that you see within the real time is basically a OLTP application which will support the business. Understand? So let us say if this OLTP application that we have, will it really helpful for the purpose of business analysis or not? We'll have to understand. Let's say we have 3 OLTP applications are there of HSBC, okay, bank. So one OLTP system, basically all the core banking transactions, are stored here. So let's say this is something present on SAP. right? And you have all the credit card transactions. Basically, all the credit card transactions are stored in the mainframe system. And you have another OLTP application called as insurance transactions. Insurance transactions of the HSBC is present within, let's say, Oracle database. Oracle database. So here you can see all the core banking transactions, like when you debit the amount, when you credit the amount, those transactions are stored within the SAP system, and all the credit card transactions are basically stored within the mainframe system, and all the insurance transactions are, let's say, they are carried out on the Oracle application. So there are three systems over there. So as we understood, these are all the OLTP systems that we have. These are all the OLTP systems. And these OLTP systems, whether they are really helpful for the business analysis or not, we have to understand. So when you talk about the business analysis, how do you perform the business analysis? It's like when you want to perform an effective business analysis, so OLTP is nothing but online transactional processing system. Online transactional processing system. Online transaction processing system. Okay, so these are all the OLTP systems of the HSBC bank. Okay, right. So basically, for performing the business analysis, what you have to do is that you require historical data mainly, so that you can compare your business with different time periods, and you require the integrated data, and you require the homogeneous application, and you require the homogeneous data. So we have to understand whether all these properties are there within the OLTP system or not. So basically, as we understand before, OLTP system basically it contains only the current data. So current data in the sense, only at present data will be there here. Only the last 3 to 6 months of data will be present within the OLTP system. And you can see here the data is basically present across different systems. One is present in SAP. You have data in the mainframes, and you have the data in the Oracle. Right? So 3 different systems we have the data here. So the data is not integrated. And you don't have the homogeneous application. Multiple applications are there. 3 different technologies you have the data. One is at SAP, mainframes, and the Oracle. And you don't have the homogeneous data, because in each system you may have different standards of data might be present. Let's say when you go with a gender attribute within this application, the standard that is followed here is, let's say it is male and female. And the standard that is followed here is MF, and the standard that is followed here is 10. So we have different standards of data present within this OLTP system. Okay, so you don't have the historical data is present here. You don't have the integrated data, and you don't have a homogeneous application. You have different applications are there here, and you don't have the homogeneous data because you have different standards of data is present here. So because of this reason, since you have all these limitations, what we are going to do is that we will create a single database, big database, and we load the data from all these applications. We load the data from all these applications, and we create a single uniform data store, which is called as a data warehouse. So what is this data warehouse? So the concept of data warehouse is nothing but it is built on a database. We can build the data warehouse on any database. It could be literally on Oracle, could be on Sybase, could be on SQL Server, it could be on DB2, or it could be on Teradata. So you can build the data warehouse on any database. So what is meant by data warehouse? A data warehouse is nothing but it is a process. A data warehouse is nothing but it's a process or a theory. It's a process or a theory which helps the business for the analysis, which helps the business for analysis. So this is the process or a theory which helps the business for the analysis. So here we have the historical data will be there. Historical data will be there, right? We have the integrated data is present, right? And we have the homogeneous format of data, and we have the homogeneous application, which is nothing but. So we are going to build the data warehouse on a single database. So we have the data present in the form of tables here. So basically, in order to get the data into this data warehouse, we use the ETL process. So which is nothing but extracting the data. So we extract the data from multiple OLTP systems. Okay. So we extract the data from multiple OLTP systems, which is called as the data extraction. And then we transform the data into a homogeneous format, which is called as the data transformation. And we load the data into the tables of the data warehouse. So this process is what you call it as a ETL process. So this ETL process is something done by using the ETL tool. Right? So we have multiple ETL tools out there, or we can say as a data integration tools. Like you have Informatica Power Center, you have Data Stage. So you have SSIS, Ab initio, right? So you have Pentaho, right? So these are all the different ETL tools that we have within the market. So which help us to create the ETL process. Means you design the extraction, transformation, and load process in order to load the data into the data warehouse. Right? So out of which Informatica Power Center, which is from Informatica Corporation, stands as a popular ETL tool that we have within the market. It's a popular ETL tool, and most of the ETL market has been captured. Yes, most of the ETL market has been captured by the Power Center. Okay, so there comes the other ETL tools like Data Stage, which is from IBM. You have SSIS from Microsoft, and Ab initio from Ab initio Corporation, right? So these are all the different other ETL tools that we have in the market, which will perform the data integration. So Informatica Power Center is basically used in two kinds of projects. So this is what you call it as a data warehousing project. Means we help. This tool will help us to read the data from these source systems and load the data into the data warehouse, which help us for the business analysis. So another thing is that it is helpful for the data migration also. Means let's say you have a billing system is there. So your billing system is on PeopleSoft, and you want to migrate that billing system to SAP. Then you can use Informatica Power Center at that time to migrate the data from one system to another system, or from one application to another application, from one database to another database. Okay, so this is so 20% of Informatica Power Center is used in the data migration project, and the remaining 80%, most of the cases, we use Informatica Power Center as a ETL tool within the data warehousing environment. So that's the reason for the first three classes we'll understand like what are the different concepts of data warehouse are present. Okay, so once we load the data into the data warehouse, so there will be another area is there called as BI layer, business intelligence layer. BI layer. So what is this BI layer is that basically For the purpose of, so let's say you have a business user is there. So this business user is not he is not a technical guy. This person is not a technical guy. So he cannot, so once we load the data into the data warehouse, he cannot query the data from here and understand how this business is running. He cannot do that. So for that purpose, what we do is that we have a separate layer called as a BA layer. Within this BA layer, we present the data in the form of reports. We present the data in the form of reports. So these reports will be accessed by the business users of the company or the decision makers of the company in order to analyze how the business is running, right? So within these reports, we present the data in different formats, like in a bar diagrams, right? So we present the data in the bar graphs or graphs, right? Or the data will be present in a tabular format, right? So we represent the data in a different formats, and we send the data, send these reports to the business users in order to identify how the business is running. So how these reports will be created is that, so when you run a report, the data will be selected or queried from the data warehouse tables, and these reports will be created. So how does these reports will be created is that we have some BA tools are present within the market. BA tools like you have Cognos, SAP BO, you have MicroStrategy, right, and Tableau, right, and so likewise we have multiple BA tools are there. So these BA tools will help us to create the reports. These BA tools will help us to create the reports, and those reports will be accessed by the business users of the company, and they'll analyze how the business is running. So the data warehouse is very helpful for any organization in order to, yes, in order to sustain in the current business market. Yes, we definitely need a data warehouse for understanding how the business is running, and so whether you're getting the profit or you're getting loss, which product is basically going better, and which insurance product is doing good, and which is not doing good, so that you can eliminate that particular product. So in order to do all these things, and who are the best customers, who are the profitable customers. So for analyzing all these things, we definitely need a data warehouse for that. So for loading the data into this data warehouse, we require Informatica Power Center tool for that. Okay, so there are multiple other tools there, but out of which Informatica Power Center has the high success rate, and it's a very popular ETL tool that we have it in the market. Okay, so the flexibility is also very high. Means so you can understand the tool very easily, and you can practice the tool also very easily. So it is very easy to use. The Informatica Power Center is a proprietary. I mean, it's a main tool of Informatica Corporation, main product of Informatica Corporation, and it is very flexible to use. So PowerMart is also it's similar to Power Center, but it's very limited. The features are limited. Power Center, you have multiple features for them. Like we can have multiple repository services can be there. We can process huge volumes of data. Whereas PowerMart, you can process only less volumes of data. So we have certain limitations are there between Power Center and PowerMart. Okay. So people who cannot afford the Power Center license, they'll go with, the small clients who cannot afford Power Center license, basically they can go with the PowerMart. So using PowerMart, you cannot connect to SAP. Using PowerMart, you cannot connect to mainframes. Okay, only to the databases, only to few flat files you can read the data from. Okay, so that is about how you have it. So this process of data warehouse is basically proposed by two scientists. One is like Rolf Kimball, and you have Rolf Kimball, and you have Bill Emmott. Right. So according to Rolf Kimball, he said that a data warehouse is a relational database management system which is helpful for the purpose of business analysis. But Bill Emmott, he has a different strategy. Like he said that he has given some characteristics. A data warehouse is a subject-oriented, time-variant, non-volatile, and integrated collection of data. So these are the four characteristics that is given by the Bill Hema. So subject oriented, what is meant by subject oriented? So basically, before understanding what is meant by subject oriented, you have to understand like what is a subject area. So basically, for every organization or any company, we'll have different subject areas. So like now we have the sales subject area, we have marketing, we have finance, inventories, shipments. So these are all the different subject areas that we have it. So when you load the data into the data warehouse, the tables within the data warehouse are categorized according to the subject area. Means the data is categorized according to the subject area. Means all the sales data is present within the sales tables. All the marketing data will be present within the marketing tables. All the finance data will be present within the finance tables. And all the shipments data will be present within the shipments table. So the data is actually categorized according to the subject areas within the data warehouse. So that is called as a subject oriented. And the time variant. So time variant is nothing but, since I told you a data warehouse contains the historical data. Historical data in the sense, let's say if you have started implementing the data warehouse for HSBC from 1995. So you're loading the data and you're analyzing your business from 1995. So you have 1995 data, 1996 data. So up to 2016, you have the data in this data warehouse. So you have the data over a period of time. Means when you have the data over a period of time, when it is so time variant, basically you can access the data and you can compare your business with different time periods. Means you can compare 2016 quarter 2 data with the 2015 quarter 2. You can make annual comparisons. You can make some quarterly comparisons or monthly comparisons. Yes, and you can even access the data. Let's say if you want to access 2004 quarter 4 data, yes, you can do that. So this kind of analysis you can do only when you have a time variant data is present. So it is called as a time variant database. And the third one is like non-volatile. So what is meant by non-volatile? Once the data is entered into the data warehouse, so once the record is entered into the data warehouse, it will not change. Means you cannot alter that record. So that is called as a non-volatile. And next one is integrated. So integrated in the sense, you can see the data present in SAP is integrated, mainframes and Oracle. So you have three different applications are there. When you're loading the data into the data warehouse, you're integrating the data and you're loading into the data warehouse. So it is called as a integrated database. So you have multiple differences are there between the approaches of Rolf Kimball and the Bill Hema. So we'll talk about those approaches and those differences in the coming sessions. Okay, so these are the different things that we have it. So as a ETL developer, so your role is a ETL developer. Your role is basically ETL developer. As a ETL developer, you're going to create the ETL process within the Informatica Power Center. So what is the Informatica Power Center? The Informatica Power Center is a data integration platform from Informatica Corporation. So which is used to create the ETL plans within this, the Power Center. So basically this Power Center is containing two parts. One is Power Center client. Power Center client you have, and Power Center server. Power Center client as well as Power Center client server. So Power Center client, so mostly the ETL developers, the developer is going to work on this Power Center client. Okay, and server, on the server you have Informatica administrator. Administrator will work on this Power Center server. So what is this client and what is the server? We'll try to understand now. See, I'll just go on the higher level. So Power Center client is like there are 4 client tools are there. So you can see here there are 4 client tools are there. One is like the repository manager we have, right? So you can see here there is something called as a repository manager. So you have here, this is the repository manager, and you have designer. So within this designer, we are going to create the ETL process. You can see this is the ETL process, or this is the ETL plan. So this ETL plan within the Power Center is what you call it as a mapping. So you can see right on the top, you can see mapping. So the ETL process is called as a mapping within the Power Center. So what you're doing here, using this Informatica Power Center designer, we are going to create, we are creating the mapping. So this is the Power Center designer, and you can see this is the source definition. Source definition in the sense, we are reading the data from this table. And you have the target definition. Target definition in the sense, we are loading the data into this table, right? So source definition and the target definition. So we are going to create these ETL plans called as mappings within the designer, and then we create a different task here. So we have another tool called as the Power Center Workflow Manager. So within this Power Center Workflow Manager tool, we are going to create the task and the workflows where you can schedule it. So once you schedule it, you can run this also. So in order to monitor how the ETLs are running, we have a separate tool called as a Power Center Workflow Monitor. So within this Power Center Workflow Monitor, you can see the workflows and the sessions are running. You can understand why the session is failed, why the workflow is failed. So about what is the reason for the failure, what is the log information. So about all these things, you have the Power Center Workflow Monitor is the thing. Power Center Workflow Monitor is a tool which will help you for that. Okay. So these are all the 4 client tools we have. So Repository Manager, which is used to create the folders, and you have the Designer, which is used to create the ETL designs, and you have the Workflow Manager where you can create the workflows. And so these workflows are the things where you can schedule it. Okay, only the workflows can be scheduled. And you have the Workflow Monitor where you can monitor all the activities. Even when you go with the production support project, so basically you will be having access to the Workflow Monitor, and you can check how the ETLs are running within this Workflow Monitor tool itself. So these are the 4 client tools that we have. And as a Informatica administrator, where you're going to work, so you have a tool called as a Informatica administrator, which is called as a Informatica admin console. So this admin console is later from 9 onwards, it is named as an Informatica administrator. So on this web-based client tool, Informatica administrator is going to work. So this is the web-based client tool that you have. So I'm logging as an administrator. So on this Informatica administrator, so you can see here Informatica administrator, and the version is 9.6.1. Okay. So on this web-based client tool, Informatica administrator is going to work. Okay, so this is the admin console. So we'll use this admin console, and we'll create different kinds of services here. We'll understand about what are the different things that we have. So these are all the different services that we have. Okay, so from 9.1 onwards, from 9 version onwards, basically, Informatica Power Center is integrated with data quality. Means you're getting both the softwares. When you buy the Power Center software, you will get even the data quality, but you are supposed to use only Power Center. From 9 version onwards, basically these two are integrated. So previous versions, Power Center is a separate one, and the data quality is a separate product. So both are separate products. But from 9 onwards, both are integrated. So you're getting as a single bundle. You're getting as a package. Okay. So that's the reason you're able to see these many services here. So these are all the services you can configure. So what are these services? What is the purpose of these services? What is the importance of these services? We'll try to understand within the admin related activities. Okay. So this is the license you have. So you don't have to, this license never expires. You don't have to worry about that. It's an Informatica standard license, and so you can use it. Okay. So this is about how you have it. Yes, sir. So you may go with your questions. So what are the OLTP systems that we are going? What are the OLTP systems that we are going with the training? So basically, see here, we don't have any online OLTP system itself. The project is basically has three phases. One is like OLTP, staging, as well as OLAP. OLAP is nothing but a data warehouse. Okay. So within this OLTP, so it is nothing but a schema which you are going to create within the database. So since we don't have any live environment here, we'll try to make it. So we have all the OLTP related tables here. Means since we are doing the sales project here, sales related retail project, all the OLTP tables will be present. Let's assume you have an online e-commerce system is there. So for that e-commerce system, you have the back-end tables are present here, like the invoice table. Invoice tables, you can see these are all the different tables that we have. Customer table, department table, employee table, invoice table, line item, product, vendor table. So these are all the different tables that we have it here. So along with the tables, we have some flat files are also present, like these flat files I can show it to you. So the flat files are always stored within the Informatica source directory. So these are all the different flat files that we have. So these are all the flat files which are going to work. Okay. So these are all the flat files, and you have the XML files also. Along with that, you have all these tables are present. So within these tables, all the transactions will be stored. So these transactions means we are going to store the data here. We'll write the SQL queries to insert the data here. So the data is present within the OLTP. So from the OLTP, we'll move the data into the, from the OLTP tables, we'll move the data into the staging by using Informatica Power Center. So when you are loading the data into this staging area, we'll understand like what are the different transformations that we have within the Power Center, and what is the use of all the transformation, what is the real-time case. You can see these are all the different transformations. So the core part of Informatica Power Center is understanding all these transformations. As well as you can see within the workflow manager, you have different tasks there. So this is also important to learn what are the different tasks, what is the purpose of these tasks. Okay, so we'll use Informatica Power Center to load the data into the staging. So we'll use up to like, so 15 mappings will create, 15 mappings, 10 to 15 mappings will create in order to load the data into the staging. So once the data is loaded into the staging area, we'll load the data now into the data warehouse. So within the data warehouse, we have dimensions, dimension tables will be there, as well as the fact tables will be there. Into this fact tables and the dimension tables, using the SCD process. So you can see we are going to implement the slowly changing dimension process, and we load the data into the dimension tables and the fact tables. Okay, so we load the data into the dimension tables and the fact tables, and we'll understand like how you can load the incremental data and what are the different parameters that are used. So about those things we'll understand. Okay, and we load the data into the dimension tables and the fact tables. So every time you load the data into the tables, we'll perform all these testing activities, as I told you, right? So these are all the different testings that we have, like smoke testing, functional testing, system testing, right? We'll understand what is the testing project life cycle and what are the testing responsibilities, and we'll see how you can perform the testing for all those. See, from the developer's point of view, how do you perform the unit testing? We'll see that. Once the once the ETL goes into the testing phase, what are the different testing methodologies that we do? So we will also go through that also. We'll also go through that. Okay. So for each ETL, for every ETL, what are the different test cases that are required, and how do we test the data, and what are the SQL queries? I mean, which strategy do we use it for testing the data? So for every ETL, we'll do that. Okay. So for all the staging ETLs, and once the data is loaded to staging, and for all the dimension and the facts also, we'll understand how the testing can be done. Okay. So this is the project that we are going to do. Okay. So we create these OLTP tables. We load the data into these OLTP tables manually. And once the data is ready, we'll use Informatica Power Center to load the data into the staging tables. And from the staging tables, we load the data into the data warehouse by using the SCD implementation. Okay. So where does Unix fit in the Informatica development? Unix means, see, as an Informatica, I mean, for the developers, we don't use much the Unix, only for specific scenarios for writing the scripting, like for the scenarios. I'll tell you the scenarios. Where do we use the scripting? So yeah, so at that time we'll use the Unix. So we have separate session. 2 sessions are there for Unix. What are the important commands, and what are the scripting? Where do we use the scripting? So I'll tell you in the project. So where do we use the scripting and all? All right. I hope that answered your question. How much SQL knowledge is required? How much SQL knowledge is required in sense you require a strong knowledge on SQL, I can say. So if you're not aware of SQL, see, I'll touch SQL on the higher level, but not much depth. I'll definitely go through the SQL, but it is required. Yeah, it is required for sure. From BigClasses team, you'll receive. See, from the okay, I'll tell you the documents which I'm going to send you. So this is the material which I'm going to send it to you. So you have the Teradata material will be sending. I'll send you the Oracle material also. So you can see Oracle, you have the queries. All the queries will be there here. Means you have to analyze how these queries are working. So this is very important. So this notes I'm going to send it to you. Okay, and this is about the description of how these commands will work. Okay, and Informatica material you have. So you can see these are all the different labs. Okay, all these lab material, and as a part of the training, we are going to perform only this. I mean, I'm going to rehearsal these labs. Okay, and you will practice within the VMwares. Okay, and so you can see these are all the different materials I'll send you. Oracle material, Informatica Power Center. Yes, Informatica Power Center. Training questions, scenario questions, right? So different options of what we have. So everything will be part of this. Okay. So DVO information. So we are going to. We don't have that other part. So we do. I mean. See, since we are going to perform the data validation by testing itself, we don't do that. Yeah. So we don't have that tool. I mean, see, this data validation tool that we have it, right? DVO. So it's a custom tool. I mean, it's a custom property that you will have it. Okay. So this is not there here within this version. Okay, so as a part of the training, we are not going to cover that. Yeah.